Alrighty, guys, all eyes are on 3 movies in the MCU. Spider-Man Brand New Day, Avengers Doomsday, and Avengers Secret Wars. There might be another movie at some point between Avengers Doomsday and Avengers Secret Wars that we may not know about. Doctor Strange 3 seems like a pretty good option, given the fact that he might, have a role to play in Avengers Doomsday. And Benedict Cumberbatch recently teased that role, saying, I wonder, if he's, when asked if he's going to be in Avengers Doomsday, so kind of playing coy there. And it would be interesting to see, because Doomsday and Secret Wars being about incursions, we suspect, it would be interesting to see what he and Clea were up to during the time before Avengers Doomsday, and even during it, if he doesn't show up in the film for a long time. All that to say, there are 3 films that we're really keeping an eye out for because they are ending the multiverse saga, but don't look now. Another film might be sneaking up on us very, very soon after, because Jake Schreier, who, if you don't know the name, Jake Schreier was the man who directed the recent MCU movie Thunderbolts, starring Florence Pugh, David Harbour, and many others, Sebastian Stan as well, and Louis Pullman as the Sentry. He directed Thunderbolts. He has been tapped to direct the X-Men movie for the MCU, the X-Men reboot. Now, for a long time, we've kind of been thinking, well, yes, Marvel has the rights to X-Men, and X-Men, it's obviously one of the tentpole franchises in the MCU, but seems like a long way away. In reality, though, yes, it is still a few years away for sure, but based on the comments we're going to be talking about today from Jake Schreier, and based on the timeline that has sort of been loosely set out, and based on the fact that Avengers Secret Wars is going to come out in December 2027, it would not be a stretch to say that the X-Men may be the first movie out of the gates after Avengers Secret Wars, after the multiverse saga, because because X-Men, the X-Men reboot from the MCU, has officially, or at least according to Jake Schreier, officially entered pre-production. Now, Jake Schreier himself did not say the words pre-production, so I want to make that very clear. It's my own assertion that it's entered pre-production, but pre-production is such a big and vast term in the movie space where it's basically just they've started to work on the movie in some capacity, whether that's concept art, storyboarding, writing. Their pre-production means all sorts of things. And from Jake Schreier's comments, I think we can safely say this movie is now in development. Maybe that's a better way to say this. It's been in development for a long time, though, because in a recent interview with Empire Magazine, Jake Schreier had this to say about the film. He says, quote, "I can't say anything about it, but we've started work on X-Men, and that's obviously very, very exciting." So yes, he has confirmed that work has started on the X-Men film. Now, why am I making all these assertions about the fact that the X-Men movie could be the first one out of the gates after Secret Wars? Well, just the fact that they're entering pre-production now, could it even release in 2027 before Secret Wars? That I feel like that's even a possibility purely based on production timeline. Well, the answer is no, for one very simple reason. I don't think they're going to introduce the rebooted cast of the X-Men before Avengers Secret Wars. I think they want to close out whatever the multiverse saga is and then start fresh with their X-Men. I could be wrong, by the way. For all I know, this X-Men movie, X-Men 1, is going to start in Battleworld, and then they're going to transition into the MCU, kind of like the Fantastic Four in their universe. I highly, highly doubt it, but we'll have to see if there's a release date announced anytime soon. I think, though, pre-production, again, starting work seems to indicate, yeah, we're starting to get the ideas going. Casting probably hasn't even happened yet. So I would assume early 2028 is the earliest that could come out. But again, that's significant because Avengers Secret Wars comes out December 2027. So early 2028 is very, very feasible if they've started work on X-Men in late 2025. They could easily have this movie ready to go by by the May or even February release date window of 2028. And again, that's right after Avengers Secret Wars. So kicking off the next saga of the MCU, if it is indeed the mutant saga or the cosmic saga or whatever people have been talking about, it makes a lot of sense, honestly, for the X-Men movie to be one of the first ones out of the gate, and this only seems to fortify that narrative. In addition to these comments, he also had some things to say about just what he learned from Thunderbolts. He says, quote, "There are so many things that I didn't know about before I started Thunderbolts. The biggest learning curve for me was the proportion of the action to the more emotional, character-driven scenes, and how, even though it's more shooting days than I've ever had, they get eaten up quite quickly by the action stuff. By the time we got to the end of it, it felt like, oh, now I feel like we get how to do this a little bit better." And that comment to me really, really fortifies why Jake Schreier is one of the best choices that they could have gotten to direct this X-Men movie, because he made in my opinion, a really good MCU movie in Thunderbolts. I love Fantastic Four more, but that has more to do with Fantastic Four First Steps than anything else. I really enjoy Thunderbolts, and when I watched it, I was like, oh, this is one of the best Marvel movies I've seen in a long time. Granted, the ones before that, Captain America Brave New World, okay. Deadpool and Wolverine, enjoyable, really enjoyable, but not to the A tier level, I think, of MCU. Then you had films like Ant-Man, Marvels, Thor: Love and Thunder. All those movies I thought, to varying degrees. Black Panther: Wakanda Forever is a standout to me as well, or in addition to Thunderbolts. So really, I think Thunderbolts was a return to form for Marvel in a big way. And if he's saying, well, now after Thunderbolts, which again, really good in my opinion, we can do this better. And on top of that, watching Thunderbolts and also listening to these comments, it seems like he's really in tune with the idea of those character-driven moments. That's what made Thunderbolts stand out to me. It's not just the action scenes, which were really good, but it was those moments, like the moment between Yelena and Red Guardian on the streets before the Void takes over. That's what makes Thunderbolts really good to me. So I'm excited about this. I think he directed an ensemble cast in Thunderbolts, and he's going to do so in X-Men, and I think that that's a really good sign. So guys, what do you think about the fact that X-Men they've started work on the X-Men movie officially, whatever that means, maybe the script, maybe casting, but I am very, very excited about this. Let me know in the comments down below.